Welcome back and thanks for still staying tuned. This is Rise and Shine and we're beaming live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa State, Nigeria. Of course, we bring to you conversations around topical issues happening around the nation, Africa, and international matters of concern that directly impact our nation. This morning, of course, we're being joined by our guest this morning, Mr. Benjamin Benson, who himself is the person in charge of retired school teachers in Akwa State, survivors of retired school teachers in Akwa State. For so long, we've been having conversations around the backlog of monies being owed to them. But since Governor Pastor Moino came on board and made promises during his campaign, we've seen him through two tranches keep up with the promise of delivering every now and then tokens of monies to be able to pay up this owed monies to retired school teachers and gratuities owed to retired civil servants in Akwa State. So, of course, today we are here to have a follow-up conversations to find out these promises made by the governor and these declarations of monies released. Is it really true? Are members of these organizations actually getting their monies? But before we get to the the stomach of that conversation, we're going to take some social media reactions that we've had on the conversations that we brought to you earlier on Rise and Shine. But first of all, good morning, Mr. Benjamin Benson.
Good morning, Oyai. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
So we'll just take some reactions from our social media pages. These are WhatsApp responses to some of the issues that we raised regarding the 15 billion naira set aside by intention by the FCT minister. Now, Barrister Bassi says we deserve the leaders we get. If the common citizens themselves, who are bearing the brunt of the failed state called Nigeria, with no government funds at their disposal to embezzle, are defending the very same people who are ruining and shutting down the country, don't you think we deserve what we are getting? A big question there by Barrister Bassi. Barrister Bassi joined us from Uyo, I presume. Yes, that was a response from Uyo here from Barrister Bassi. Serious question. Barrister Bassi is saying that Nigerians are deserving of the the kind of leadership we are getting. After all, we are not proactive. We don't have the money to embezzle, yet we are defending those who are embezzling taxpayers' money. This is from Bakare from Abuja. It says you are talking about the ones published. What of the issues that you cannot be told? So I'll read it directly the way he said. He said that's the one they'll publish. The one they can't tell you is worse. So he says we are having these conversations around the published wastefulness of Nigerian leadership and Nigerian government. What of the waste that is going on and not published in mainstream media? Big question there. Thank you very much, Bakare from Abuja. Thank you so much, Barrister Bassi from Uyo, for sending us your WhatsApp responses to the issues at hand this morning. We go forward to our conversation with Mr. Benjamin Benson. Governor Pastor Moino promised that under his leadership, the question of owed monies to retired primary school teachers, gratuities owed to retirees will be paid. These monies have been owed as backdated all the way back to as far back as 2009, and some were paid under the leadership of Godswill Akpabio when he was governor of Akwa State. It looks like the biggest burden of owing was in the Udom Emmanuel administration. It's like he did worse with regards to payment. But Governor Pastor Moino has released two tranches. I think the first one he released was about 1 billion naira. Yes, he released 1 billion naira at first. And I think a couple of weeks ago, he released another tranche of about 1.5 billion, if I get that right. So far, so good. 2.5 billion naira has been released to pay gratuities and some monies owed to retired primary school teachers. These monies that have been declared by the state government to have been paid. So far so good. Let's start from saying, is it true? Has the governor actually released these funds?
Yes, yes. And I want to commend the governor because at the point it looked as if this was not going to be possible, especially under the last administration. It was it wasn't given a priority in the 8 years of the last administration. So even when Pastor Mobasieno was campaigning. He said he will do it after a month in office, and we thought he was just one of those political jackals. But what breaks my heart is that he never waited for people to protest. He just did it out of his free will, so to speak. So that's the most important thing for me, that he kept to his campaign promises, unlike other politicians who don't remember what they promised during the campaigns. So it is actually true that he's releasing these monies in batches, and this is actually the third batch.
Yeah.
Yes, this is actually the third batch.
So another question, now that we have ascertained that Governor Pastor Moino is not carrying on with media sensationalism with regards to what exactly he's doing. 3 tranches since coming into office May 29, money is being paid to these sector of people. What are the modalities for payment? Because one issue is the governor releasing money. Yes. Now the next question is this money going down to the people that it must be paid to? Yeah. When you have a backlog of people that have been owed, say, since 2009, 2010, all of those years, what are the modalities? What kind of structure is the civil service in Akwa State or the pension board using to pay this money?
Naturally, since this money is released in tranches, batches, so to speak, we expect that the paying desk, that's the paying office, SUBEB, should start from the backlog down the years as applied. We say like from 2000, you pay 21, 22, 23, then to the current years. But at times we get to find out that people are omitted in the payment process. There are 2 reasons I will bring out for that. One is favoritism, the issue of favoritism, and the other one might be some persons were not captured. It wasn't their fault during the verifications. It wasn't their fault because
that's not the fault of SUBEB now.
No, not the fault of these persons, these beneficiaries, who were supposed to have been paid far back. But they were not captured during the verification in 2021 because those who conducted the verification, if you follow that verification, you knew that there was so many people coming for the verification. Meanwhile, we had the staffs working with SUBEB were not enough, so they may have omitted some of these names. So you need to go back and do revalidation of your status so that you can be captured. But people were omitted for that reason I've just mentioned, and for the reason of some people found their way to jump the queue. So those were challenges, and when we in our last letter to His Excellency, which was, of course, the letter was copied to the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs and the Accountant General and the Chairman of SUBEB, Right Honorable Anyete Tuku. So that was the issue we addressed in a meeting with the Chairman of SUBEB on Monday and even yesterday, because we had to bring up these names and send them back to SUBEB so that they don't jump anybody. Nobody is jumped to favor anyone. So you must, if you are saying that you must clear backlog, one person is too many to be left behind. So you start from the the list I presented to him yesterday. It had people in 2000, 2003, 2004, and continuously like that. So we want those people to be cleared along, so that when next time we are talking about backlog, we will not still go back to 2000. Yes, yes. So it is in the interest of government also that they do, they pay those ones. And the chairman gave us his word that it was a mistake, it was an error, that they are going to correct it by starting from those years. Yes.
It's very important if we can get the achievements of Governor Pastor Moino with paying up this backlog very right. So just like, you know, Benjamin Benson is saying this morning, start from the oldest years.
Yes.
About it starts all the way from 2000.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So from the year 2000, it should be paid up,
Oh, yeah.
so that we know that, you know, we can say that Governor Pastor Moino has paid from 2000
Hosanna,
to
yes.
2009,
Yes,
2010.
yes, yeah.
So that if he's not, because another question I'm about to ask you is, do you think that Governor Pastor Moino is going to be able to take care of the entirety of the backlog that he came to?
Yes, yes, it is possible. If the payment, if the releases is consistent, yes, it is possible. If you do your calculation, you know, like we had like 33. Okay, if you look at the whole sum owed these retired primary school teachers and their next of kin, it's about 38 billion. Yes. So if you say, if you, for instance, if you keep every month after month, you keep releasing, say, 2 billion, 2 billion, because that's what we want him to do. It is possible that in the next, say, the next 3-4 years,
Yes.
you will do away with issue of backlog. Maybe people will just retire and receive their gratuities in less than 2-3 months.
So you're saying that with the system that the governor has adopted,
Yes.
we could say he's doing a bi-monthly release.
Yes.
So about every other 2 months, we see Governor Pastor Umoino release, because he has
yes.
released 3 tranches.
Yes.
So if it's consistent with this,
Yes.
38 billion naira will be.
He must have paid it at the end of 3-4 years. Yes, it is possible. And he has to be consistent. That is why we said, even though we understand the challenges in government also, but we also say that since there was this abandonment over the years, something intentionally should be done, like he release more money.
Of which Governor Pastor Umoino is actually very, very intentional.
Yes, I think so. I've seen what he's doing, he's trying to do. I think if he's, instead of releasing 500 million, should be like 2 billion. Every other month, it takes that off. And the process should be open, so that the paying office, the government itself will be credible. The process should be open, because if you go to the civil service sector now, they publish the names, they paste it, the names of beneficiaries, those paid, they paste it. So we also want SUBEP to be pasting names of people that are paid, so that if somebody comes and maybe he checks off the list, he will know where they stop, and he will be able to know that in the next 1 month or by the next batch that will be paid. That will give him some kind of faith in the system.
Okay, so is SUBEP and the civil service, are they working separately on this payment? Because it looks like the civil service is doing pay and pay stop names, but SUBEP is not doing the same. Are we not supposed to see some form of synergy to make sure, just like you said earlier, they are skipping some years and some persons within 1 year?
Yes.
Don't you think that if we have SUBEP and the civil service working unanimously, then we'll be able to cover more ground? Why is it that they seem to be working separately on this particular mission?
Well, I think there are different departments. The monies that are supposed to come to the primary school teachers comes from a different account, maybe from the local government account. So,
Okay.
and maybe I also look at the fact that the civil service itself did not have so much of this backlog. They didn't have so much of the backlog. At least by the time Governor Akwa was living in 2015, he had paid up to that 2015 too. So the backlog really accrued during the years of the last 8 years. Yes. So that was when they had this gap. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been a gap. So for SUBEP to handle their issues separately, that will also help them also separate the responsibilities. So I think it's good for them too.
Okay. So another big question will be now, what is the response coming up from the people that have been owed this money over the years? But remember that in the last 2 years of the John Emmanuel administration, every now and then it was protest by the retired school teachers. It was a protest by retirees asking that the government pays them monies that they've been owed. Now that we have seen a governor who has released money in 3 tranches, at least you would say even if it's not the entirety of the person's gratuity that has been paid to them in one payment, you say at least half or a percentage has been paid. You know that maybe by the next time the governor releases this money, another percentage will be paid, and before long your gratuity has been handled. How would you say that the community of retired school teachers, primary school teachers, retirees at all levels, how would you say that they're currently doing? You're in charge of their affairs. You really took out their burden on the shoulder. So how are they doing?
Yes, there's excitement. Everyone is happy. Money saves life. So a lot of people they have recovered health-wise, business-wise. People that have received their monies, they are into business. Some of them, and in fact, there was a woman that had cancer. So God helped her. She received the money at the point that she was supposed to go for Medicare, and that really helped. Even though we know that if that money was paid like 10 years, 8 years back, it would have added so much value. But all the same, people are happy. Families are united, and they are happy.
Speaking of the value of the money at this time, these monies are monies that were owed, to these persons 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. The value of 1 million naira worth of your gratuity at that time is nothing compared to what it is as of now.
Yeah. If maybe by 10 years ago, say 1 million could have built a house, a small bungalow. But now it can barely mold cement for a 3-bedroom flat. So the value of that money has really gone down. But it is very important that they get the money, whatever it is, they get their money. Because it was their entitlements in the first place. It is good. Life goes on, and they are happy. Families are.
So I think that brings back a big question to the state government and even the federal government at this time. When you owe people their monies and it transcends years, the value of the money keeps depreciating. It's no longer worthy of the work that they did at the time. What a retired school teacher might have used their 1 million, 2 million naira as whole sum of gratuity to do back in the years, they might not be able to achieve it now, and it still boils down to them being cheated of the value of their monies. But it's good to hear that Governor Pastor Moino is keeping to his promises with regards to making sure that these monies owed have been paid, and he's taking we see some form of intentionality. We know that we cannot take out 38 billion naira in all that the state is worth in 2 months and pay only to these retired school teachers and retirees. But seeing the consistency, one would only hope that we continue to see him keep up to this. In terms of appreciation now from the end of these persons, because I mean, we literally sat through an 8-year administration where we barely saw this monies being paid. How appreciative has these organizations been towards Governor Pastor Moino?
Well, when he started with the first tranche, we wrote to thank him. We wrote back to thank him, and we asked him that we prayed for him anyway. And I know in my heart that with this kind of leader, if he has the kind of money that the last administration had, like the Paris Club debt refund or the derivation funds, if that kind of money, that volume of money comes in, all the refunds on federal government projects by past governors, if those kind of money come in, we won't wait for 2 years. I know he will not wait for 2 years. Of course, he has shown us the part of how kind he is. He may end up clearing this money as soon as those kind of monies come. So we are praying for him that he succeeds under his government, that he experiences the kind of monies the last administration received in this state. And I know that he's a good man. He will do it.
Oh, well, of course, this morning we've been talking to Benjamin Benson, who himself is the coordinator of retired primary school teachers in Akwa State. People who lend a voice to the plight of retirees. Some of them are children and survivors of parents who served the system for 35 years, but their monies had been held back for several administration. In the last 8 years of the former administration of Mutomi Manuel, they were massively owed. And when Governor Pastor Omoino came into office during his campaigns, he had promised that he was going to pay particular attention and make sure that these monies owed have been paid. So far, so good, to the tune of almost running into about 4 billion naira now, tranches of 1 billion being paid, another 1.5 billion being paid in 3 tranches. The governor has actually released funds for the payment of these gratuities being owed. And today, Mr. Benjamin Benson, who is like the spokesperson for retired primary school teachers and gratuity and retirees in Akwa State, has come to say a big thank you to Governor Pastor Omoino. They are saying they have seen what the governor has done in the past 6 months of his administration as governor of the retired primary school teachers. They have seen what he is doing, and they have come back to say a very big thank you. Just like Benjamin Benson said this morning, they do hope that he sees the kind of financial abundance that the past administration saw, knowing inadvertently that if he does, it means that the backlog will be cleared within his 4-year administration. I don't know if you have any final words just before we draw a close to this session.
It's okay. My final words is to the governor, His Excellency Pastor Omoino. I just want to urge him to just keep the consistency in the releases, and our prayers is always with him, that God will lead him rightly. And to those still waiting, we have to exercise a little bit of patience. It will get to everybody definitely.
All right. That's the march that we can take today. Thank you very much, Benjamin Benson, for coming. Just like we always say, if you beat the government with one hand, make sure you call them back with the other hand when they're doing good. Spectrum Television has been a very strong voice with the retired primary school teachers, always lending a voice and calling on the state government to do right by them. Now that we see that the state government is doing right by them, it's also our responsibility to come back and tell, the world, tell Nigerians that, hey, Akwa Ibom state government is beginning to deliver on those things that we usually talked about. That is very, very important. It's an all-inclusive, platform. But this is the much we can take on the Wednesday edition of Rise and Shine. It's been a long journey. We have a lot of concerns about things happening in the country. Thank you to those who reached out to us and shared their concerns and contribution on the show. Thank you to Basi, who reached us from Uyo via WhatsApp. Thank you, Bakare, who reached us via WhatsApp all the way from Abuja, giving their thoughts around the issues happening at the FCT near some weekend, 15 billion naira for the residence of the vice president, several other issues. You need to catch up on all that we've talked about on Rise and Shine this morning. Do that by following us across all our social media platforms, all of which you can find at spectrumtvlive.ng. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you would always find all of our content also hosted, just so that you can be a part of the growing community. Like, share, comment. Until we return to your screens again tomorrow with a more robust episode of Rise and Shine, stay safe, stay well, and may God keep us as Nigerians. Until tomorrow, my name remains Uyai Anyekan. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.